the way it was, but it's changing. And all that's left are memories and broken dreams. Why can't we be?
We're not all mad. And the bottom line is that, you know, in this room here, we are the bright ones, aren't we? We're the 3%ers. And we've got to reflect on the fact is that when people outside are starting to look at us and starting to listen to what we're saying, we've got to be asking the question, what is about the people out there that's taking them so long? Eh? Just how powerful the controls are over these people. But we know that as we keep plodding on, keep pushing, keep talking, we're waking them up every day. This is an alternative money system. It's doable, okay? We've done a great deal of background work for it. We're working on the systems. The only thing that's missing is the people who work it, okay? The actual people to use it. So what I'm going to do is going to run through how the whole thing works so that we start the conversation, because you people out there are going to talk to other people. Now, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time to build, and it's important that you understand the mechanism, because it's not hard to run a bank. It's not hard to run an honest bank, okay? It's hard when you're running a dishonest bank because you've got to hide all the corruption, okay? But a banking system, a monetary system, is actually quite straightforward. It's all about transferring our labour between us and our assets between us. That's all it's about, okay? So I'm going to run through this as quickly as I possibly can. Creating a new world order. Ours, not theirs. Right, it's based on a set of principles by which our new monetary system is to work. The system will be owned by the whole of society, and it's not owned by an independent banking cartel. The system will operate in accordance with a set of rules, the rule of law, and overseen and audited by an entirely independent group, right, separate from the actual banking. So it's not self-monitoring. And the monitoring people will be selected by us, by you and I. The system will comprise of a network of independent and autonomous branches established at local level. So we'll have a network of individual banks, and these will use a fractional reserve banking system. Now, a lot of people have been told that fractional reserve is a bad thing. It's not. But one thing that's wrong with a fractional reserve system is the interest and bad loans. If you have no interest and good loans, there's nothing wrong with fractional reserve banking, okay? We will provide loans and mortgages interest-free, because we can. So when it comes to young people not being able to afford mortgages, it's because of the interest that builds up over a long period of time. So young people will be able to get mortgages again. If you want to get a mortgage, you need a 10% deposit. So you want a £100,000 mortgage. If you want a £100,000 mortgage, you actually need a £10,000 deposit. I'll come back to that in a moment. Our system will use pound sterling as its currency, and eventually a voucher system alongside that. The voucher currency will look, feel, and have the security of real money. So we'll start to feed into the system our own voucher currency. Okay? So you've got pound sterlings and vouchers. Our vouchers and sterling will be interchangeable. So you'll be going into your grocers, your local shops, and you'll be handing over vouchers, and they will start to accept those as pound sterling. There are certain aspects of how the monetary system will work that we cannot reveal, okay? The reason we can't reveal it is because we don't want these people knowing what's happening behind the scenes. Progressively, our voucher currency will be regarded as the equal credibility of pound sterling. Now, what we know will happen is this. They will scaremonger, and they will say, the vouchers are not worth anything, the voucher currency is not worth anything. We will be able to guarantee at any point that they start scaremongering that we can exchange vouchers immediately for pound sterling to prove the point. So we know we're going to be attacked. And as I say, what we can't tell you is why we can guarantee that, okay? Each branch will be owned by local people as investors, so the opportunity will be put to you to actually get involved in a local branch. You can invest money in it, or you can just become a customer. Each branch will function as a profit centre, succeeding or failing on its own merits. So you're going to get branches that will close because they've failed. You're going to get branches that are going to be very successful because the people managing those branches are very good at managing businesses, okay? But at no time are the deposits of the customers in those branches at risk. The system as a whole will guarantee the deposits, 100% of deposits, because we're not putting money out to the gambling in the share market, okay? Every individual is entitled to a bank account. An account is a right, it is not a privilege, okay? You should be able to have a bank account, because a bank account in today's world, without one, you're a disadvantaged individual, okay? So it is a right, not a privilege. Each individual will be provided with both a savings and an investment account. The latter will be provided by will provide the means by which dividends can be earned. So if you want to just put your money for safekeeping, you have a savings account. If you've got a bit to spare, you can put the money across into an investment account, and you can invest in businesses that have accounts with us, okay? So it's an opportunity to earn some money on top of your savings. Customers could lend their money to other customers. They don't lend it to the bank, they lend it to other customers. And they will earn up to an interest of 10% on their money. So the interest that you can earn in an alternative banking system is better than the banks. And of course the reason why is because most of the interest the banks keep for themselves. This way we share it around ourselves, okay? Customers will also be able to invest in businesses and business customers and earn dividends, and I think I mentioned that before. We will list the business customers online and provide an appropriate portal to buy and sell shares as is appropriate, and range loans accordingly. So we'll be effectively operating our own share market. So you don't have to go to the share market and again get stung there. We'll have a genuine set of businesses earning profits and available to our customers to invest in. Businesses will be able to advertise their services free of charge. We want to encourage business. We want to actually get people used to using the businesses that bank with us. We'll encourage businesses to trade between themselves, and that's why we want them to advertise. So if you are a customer in our banking system and you want to buy some tyres, we encourage you to buy your tyres from businesses who actually have an account with us. Branches will offer interest-free loans to businesses and individuals with all the usual lending criteria. So it's all about risk. It operates in exactly the same way as a normal bank. If you're a bad risk, if you're a spendthrift, then we won't lend you any money. But if we do lend you money, it's interest-free, and the branch will earn a 10% commission for arranging the business. So whereas normally the bank will lend the money at interest and take the interest, and whereas normally the bank doesn't have the money in the first place, what we will do is we will do the same business, but we will actually simply take a 10% commission, and that will be used to run the banks, to run the branches. So it's a straightforward 10% commission. The 10% fee is paid up front, okay? So it's nothing borrowed. So we're trying to encourage people to save, to make their businesses to work, to get the money, to prove that they're able to actually make the profits to pay back the loans. If the borrower does not have the 10% fee, then they can borrow from other customers. Okay, this is where the people with deposits in the bank can actually earn 10%, because if they don't have the deposit, then they can borrow from within the system. Same like lending criteria is observed. Branches will offer interest-free mortgages, as I mentioned. A borrower will pay 10% of the mortgage amount as an upfront fee. If you want to borrow £100,000, you are required to have £10,000 deposit. How many people have got £10,000 deposit? Not many, especially young people. So these people can actually go back to our own customers and borrow the 10%. They will pay a 10% commission on that and a 10% interest to the lender. So £10,000 borrowed from within the system is going to cost them £12,000. £1,000 gets paid to the bank branch for arranging the fee, and of course the 10% is paid to the other customer. So the system is commercially viable, it works. These are the figures. 100% £100,000 loan with a 10% fee, where the individual has the £10,000 loan, will cost you £555 per month over 15 years. Note, over 15 years, not 25, you can pay back your mortgage earlier. The same mortgage under the present system at 5% will cost you £790 and 80p over 15 years. So that's going to cost the customer, the mortgagee £32,345 more using their system than our system. And that's after the 10% commission has been paid. Okay? So this is a mathematical system. It works. Where the customer borrows the fee of £10,000, i.e. didn't have the deposit in the first place, there is a nominal amount on top of the repayment. And that nominal amount is £1,000 up front to pay the bank's commission, and 10% commission to the other customer. Now the £1,000 has to be found, so if you want to buy a house for £100,000, the obligation is to save £1,000. You know, take a few days out of the pub, whatever. Okay, there are obligations. Each branch will offer services to customer for which the branch will earn a fee. So it's a commercial centre, it's just like a retail centre. They're offering a service. These fees will provide the main source of income to each branch. The more proficient the branch, the more profit it will make. Services could include vehicle and home insurance, and of course, that's got to be good for us as well, because we know we're being ripped off on the insurance deal, okay? Each branch will operate from an office, a known location, so we can identify where our branch is, in which the business of the branch can be concluded or conducted. Anybody of good standing can open a branch. Anybody in this room can open a branch. If you've got credibility and got good standing, you can open a branch. We want as many people to think about the concept of opening a branch. And all they've got to do is be credible, upstanding, honest. No money will be kept in the branches, by the way. As somebody who comes forward and says, I want to open a branch, we would expect you to get 12 other people, 11 other people to sponsor you or to be investors with you. So we're looking at credible people, okay? Services offered will vary from one branch to another depending entirely on the owners of the branch. Some branches will go one way, some branches will go the other way. So you're going to have efficient branches, you're going to have inefficient branches. The customers of each branch will gravitate towards the better branches, so you're going to have natural selection, okay? A branch actually functions by virtue of its ability to access the system. This is the system that runs the transfers of money. So a bank, all a bank is a set of ledgers. It's a set of ledgers where you keep your money, where you've got your investments, and how you transact, okay? Access to the system is subject to strict conditions for obvious reasons. So not everybody can get access to the bank. We need to control who the branch owners and managers are. That's what we're controlling. At this stage, there are other conditions which are confidential and will be released to applicants. The system operates under the provision of common law. It's contract common law. The system is a network of interconnected ledgers which will reflect the savings, trade, and investments of every individual who takes up the option of their account. You don't have to have an account with us, but the bottom line is if you do, you have access to loans interest-free, mortgages interest-free, and obviously the banking side of it is also is free. Account holders will be able to transfer funds from their account to any other account in the system. Right? You can go into a retail shop and do it. We'll have retail shops that have terminals, so you'll be able to go in and say, I want to transfer some money over. You can do it on the internet, you can do it by your mobile phone. So you've got lots of little shops that are acting as a retail branch. And again, because you've lots of them, you've got a service to the community. At the moment, I think they're closing branches down all over the place, aren't they? So we've got lots of mini banks acting as through a set of terminals. Customers and members will be, a customer is a member. If you're a customer, you must be a member, okay? You'll be able to deposit and withdraw funds from a network of ordinary retail shops. These retailers will operate a terminal system to register all transactions, backed up by a set of manual ledgers to record the same details. So each of these retailers has to record everything manually. Very much like the old banking system used to do, terminals and manual. That's in case something goes wrong, and of course Murphy's Law is the technology always breaks down. And of course, the other side of the coin is customers will be able to transfer money from one mobile phone to another. The way that works is if you've got your daughter down in London and you're up in Southampton, wherever you're up in Stockport, wherever, and you want to send some money, you can send the money via your mobile phone. That technology is already available. I've actually set up a little system that did the exercise. So that's going to be of enormous benefit as well. The way that the system functions from a commercial point of view, every transaction carries a charge of £1 plus 0.25%. So if you transfer £100 from one account to the other, it will cost you £1.25. £1,000, £3.50, £10,000, £26. So it's a commercial system. Now these charges are probably a little bit more expensive than the current system, but then free loans, free mortgages, okay? These charges will pay for the running and maintenance of the system, and 50% of these charges are paid directly to the retailer for their time and effort. So there's going to be lots of little retailers that are going to be boosting their revenues because they'll be bringing in these 50p's. 50p's a day makes a lot of money for a small retailer these days. Even small businesses that are not retailers might also act as a retail bank. If you employ 50 people, then you can offer the services of banking at your business. I think I mentioned the transaction cost of withdrawing and depositing money will be more than adequately compensated for by the fact that you get cheap loans for your business and interest-free mortgages. And banking itself will be free of charge. Each branch will also contribute to the running of the system by way of a percentage of the fees earned. The access to the system by each branch and its ability to function as a branch will be subject to certain criteria as explained. The branch must have 12 sponsors or investors, all guarantors whose job it is to make sure that the bank, they oversee the integrity of the bank. Some of these 12 will actually work with the bank. So you've got a group of people who are responsible for running each of the branches, okay? And as I explained before, each of the branches has got 100% guarantee on the funds deposited. Our monetary system is owned entirely by all the members, all the customers. Members join and become a customer. They pay a one-time only fee of £10. So when you join this bank, we want £10 from you. The money is used to develop the system, to pay for the software, to employ people. These initial funds will be managed by a committee of people. So it won't be me, it won't be people, it will be you people out there. So we're looking for individuals to promote themselves forward as getting involved in the bank. So we want everybody out there to consider themselves as potentially making a contribution to looking after the system itself. This is important. The underlying value of our system derives from pledges made by each member. Each member, when they join, will pledge £100. That is not a payment of £100, it's a pledge. It says, I promise to pay. That's a lot more than their system's got. So if we end up with 1 million people and we promise to pay £100, we have an underlying value based on the if you like, the blood, sweat, tears of us that will be worth £100 million. Now, in reality, that could be monetarised. If you've got a lot of people who promise to pay and sign a pledge, it could be monetarised. But we do not intend to monetarise it. We just keep it there as our security, knowing that we all rely on each other. The collective pledge of the members gives real value to the system, and we act as our own guarantors. That's effectively what we're doing. The system, as distinct from the branches, okay, there's two different things here. We've got the system, which is the actual banking system itself, has its own earning capability, it has its own earning capacity, because the branches pay a percentage to the system. Surpluses, after operating expenses have been paid out to the employees of the bank and overheads, etc., will be distributed to the members. Now, the banking system actually does not require a great deal of manpower. I imagine a maximum of about 100 people across the board doing all the work. And the same with regards to overheads. The overheads will be contained in the branches, which are completely separate from the main system. everybody who is a member has pledged £100, and therefore everybody will get paid out the same amount. We will encourage people to make higher pledges. Now, if you know how the Lloyd's of London works, Lloyd's of London have what they call names. And the biggest insurance company in the world was based on pledges. So it's a real system. It's not new. It's just that they were putting their £1 million home on the line, and it was restricted to a few wealthy people. What we're doing is we're taking the same system, which has worked for centuries, and we're dividing it to lots of people, a smaller amount, same system. So if people are prepared to offer a greater pledge, a higher pledge, say £1,000, which gives greater value to the whole system, we will pay a higher dividend to those people. So we're encouraging people to be, if you like, a little bit more adventurous about offering the pledge to the system. Somebody who's pledged £1,000 as opposed to £100, you get a higher reward or a dividend. The system will create money out of nothing in exactly the same way that their system does. The difference between our system creating money out of nothing is that if you deposit £1,000, we will create £10,000 worth of credit for you, not the system. The way the current system works is that if you put £1,000 into their bank, they create £10,000 worth of credit for them. So you've got immediate benefit when you put £1,000 in our system versus putting in their system, because you've got access to credit. Now you can use that credit, or you can possibly pass it on to somebody else. That's work in progress. What's important is that you can spend that money within our system. Yeah? You have cash of £1,000, you then have credit of £10,000. If you want to draw cash out, the proportion of the credit is always a factor of 10. So if you take £500 out, the credit that you have available to you drops to 5,000. Yeah? So if you take £500 out, it drops to 5,000. If you spend £10,000 worth of credit within our system, you have no access to cash. You need to get somebody to credit your system or pay you. So as your bank account goes up and down, as you're spending, as people are giving you money, your access to cash comes into being. Now their system operates on a principle of 3% cash. Ours operates on a basis of 10% cash. So it's a more valid system. The loans that we give to customers will have some relation to the pledges that we make. So it's a commercially viable operation. As I maybe said before, the system we will use will have a fractional reserve banking base of a multiple of 10. And I've also said that fractional reserve banking is not an ogre, providing, firstly, there's no interest attached, and secondly, it's sound investment. As long as the loans are repaid, there's nothing wrong with fractional reserve banking. Okay, the customer deposit £1,000. I mentioned this is the factor of 10. And I've mentioned the fact that if you spend 50% of your credit, you will also lose access to 50% of the cash. Credit can only be spent within the system, and it can be transferred from one customer to the other. And this is where the numbers comes in. Ultimately, when we've got all of the resources that we need, you can find a mechanic in the system, you can find bread in the system, you can find travel in the system, you can use the credit that you've developed and buy all of the materials and items that you want. But our system does not communicate with their system. This is vital. And this is how we separate control from them. They will have absolutely no control of our system whatsoever. But we've got a very clever way in which we get access to ATM machines. And we ain't telling anybody how to do that, okay? So we will have a system that is separate from theirs, that we can use their currency, or our currency as it should be, and we can use ATM machines as well. Now there's a lot happening behind the scenes here which I can't tell you about, but what I can tell you is that it's very dangerous for them. Yeah? Now you've got to imagine this situation where people say, well, this bank does this, and their bank does that. We get the tip. Our bank does this, their bank does that, we get the tip. Our bank does this, and theirs does that, we get the tip. And people are going to say, why do we need to use this system? Because we can still get cash from the ATMs. Think about that. They're going to be very nervous about it. So members will be able to transfer cash from their savings accounts in our system to an account in the existing system. In other words, an account in their system. But why would you want to leave your money there? So what we're doing is we're creating a system in which people will have confidence, right? And we're giving the convenience of local shops to be able to do it as well. The subject of security of cash within the retail shops is obviously something we're looking at, but for security reasons we're doing that under a separate cover. I've also mentioned that the shops will earn a commission, so it's good for business for the local community. So what we're doing is we're pulling the money away from the banks and we're bringing it back to the community. Okay, the retail shops will be associated with branches, so there'll be a network of individual branches who will nominate retailers, and it will up to the branches to actually coordinate the paperwork of the retailers. That's probably too much detail for you guys at the moment, but the important thing is that each of the branches is managing each of the retail outlets. The control, a group of branches will select their own local guy who will attend a national conference, and they will part of 100 people who will actually select the people who will manage the bank. So it's from the bottom up, not from the top down. So we won't have an executive managing down, we'll have the people managing up, okay? The group at the bottom will be constantly changing, so as the branches themselves are changing staff and re-electing or electing different people, it means the central committee of 100 will be constantly changing. So you're not going to get any cliques, are you? You're not going to get groups of people ganging together. So that's the idea, it's a fluid system. The main group will meet once a year, and then there'll be small committees meeting several times a year. There is a leap of faith. You just don't start a bank tomorrow. We need to build the numbers. So the process that we've got to go through is a mental leap of faith. We have just got to make this happen. Time is not on our side. Our new monetary system will become a reality when we have reached that critical mass of people. Numbers. Remember that thing before? Numbers, numbers, numbers. It's all about the numbers. So we're working towards building the British Constitution Group, building our numbers, and at the same time offering a new means of doing things, a new means of governance, and a new means of actually banking. There are already enough people out there who know what the problems are. There's already enough people who know that we've got to change things, and the thing that we've got to do is move to that next level. We don't really have a choice. So this is what we want you to do urgently. We've set up a website. It's called lawfulbank.com. We don't want you to give us any money, we just want you to put your name down. We want you to tell people there's going to be a new bank and it belongs to you. There will be an opportunity to invest in it. There'll be an opportunity to have your own branch. We'll get more information to you if you want to understand how it's possible that you, your family, and other families can get involved in the local branch, how you can earn money, how you can create a business on the back of a branch. That's the information that we're going to start giving to you. But the conversation starts here. We need you people to get out there and talk about that there's a new potential bank coming out, and it's not going to have anything to do with the current system. The pledge. This is just a simple version of the pledge. I, and your name, as a voluntary member of the People's New Monetary System, do pledge £100 as my contribution to the asset value of the system, and I give solemn promise to provide this sum if ever I'm called upon to do so, regardless of my circumstances. It's a real pledge. It's a promise to pay. The chances are we will never ever have to call it up because we won't abuse the system. Our alternative money system is entirely dependent on getting the critical mass of users signed up. It functions in exactly the same way as the existing system, with the exception that it's controlled through a network of small, independent and autonomous branches and small groups of individuals who have a direct say in the selection of the management team through a democratic process. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to publish its information as far as wide as possible and there is provision for international banking. What the monetary system needs is this. It needs a set of ledgers to keep the account of the trade between businesses' ledgers. Tick that box, we've already sorted that out. It needs a currency for small transactions conducted on a daily basis and access to cash. Tick that box, we've got that sorted. It needs access to all resources needed to live one's lives. That's the numbers, right? That's what we're working on. We need people to sign up to the bank. And it needs a system of credit. Tick that box, we've got that sorted out. So we're already 3/4 of the way there. We come back to the old age thing of we just need the numbers, okay? The critical mass, how many people? Well, I don't think we even speculate on the numbers because it's down to, at some point in time, we're going to need to be able to get the mechanic, the food, all of the services that we need in daily life, okay? We have got an idea as to how to deal with the utilities, and you've got to love this one. We will open a bank account on behalf of the utilities, on behalf of the British people, because there are utilities out there. And we're going to say to the utilities, the money's in the bank, right, because we paid it to the bank, and you can access that money in that bank account, but you have to use our banking system. So do you see what's happening here, right? And they are going to have to pay us through our banking system. And who do you think they're going to have to borrow money from? Us. Okay? See what's happening here? I'm not sure utilities interest free is a good idea, but we'll work on that one. Okay. The principle is that we actually can take back control of our own utilities because our monetary system will dictate it. And the bottom line is, according to our law, right, we are entitled to pay for our utilities through our banking system. We would take back control of our own utilities. Why am I paying a Spanish company for the water that falls from the sky? Okay. So we're just as clever as they are, but there's more of us than them, okay? And that's a simple process.
Sorry.
If we don't have the full range of services initially, if it takes us time to get built up, we can use both systems, yeah? So that's a very important part of it as well. So we do have potential for stopgap arrangement. Right, these are the two websites that you need to visit, lawfulbank.com. Go on, sign up your name. Obviously, the bcgroup.org.uk, if you're not a member of the British Constitution Group. Bottom line is that we need to move things forward. You guys are doing a great job. You guys are intelligent people. Out of the whole of the United Kingdom, the people who turn up to these meetings are the bright, the sharp pencils in the box. We are enormously grateful for you guys coming here today. We're enormously grateful for you guys doing all the donkey work out there, spreading the word, bringing us information. And all I can say is thank you very much and thank you for coming today. Thanks again.